Joining us now, he has got the patience of a saint to deal with me every time he comes on this show. He is Ty Windisch of the GyroStep podcast. Follow him on X at Ty Windisch on the guest hotline powered by Gruber Law. One call, that's all. Ty, I apologize.
That's okay, Sparky. I've developed my patience with this Milwaukee Bucks team. I'm still waiting for the next win. It's been a few days now. Still waiting. Kevin Porter Jr. said during one of these rounds of Giannis unrest, we'll run off 9-8 wins in a row, and then no one will be asking about Giannis. Still waiting for that too. Waiting for 3, but I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
So I'm not doing well. And I know you're lying because I've seen your comments on X, and you are not doing well. You are angry and mad. And again, this is the thing I was talking about the other day. Like, okay, I did the post-game show for all those years, and I had to sit there and be tortured watching the end of games and 15-win seasons and everything else. And if I wasn't having to do post-game show, I'd have turned the damn thing off and went to bed or found something else to watch. And the other night, they're getting blown out, and I'm watching. I literally turned it off. I was like, I'm done. I'm not watching the rest of this crap. And I turned on a Hallmark Christmas movie or something that I'm watching.
Nice. Hallmark Christmas movies are great. I'm mad at culture.
I watch them all year. So I'm like, okay, so I'm on X, and I'm still following on X while I'm watching the movie, like always, because I can't put my phone down. And I'm watching, and you're going off, and everybody's getting mad. I'm like, y'all are just taking years off your life watching games that do not matter at this point. I'm going to tell you where I'm at. And we're going to talk more about this at 3:20. I'm good. You want to trade for John Morant? Go ahead. You want to trade for Anthony Davis? Go ahead. Do what you got to do, man. Go get the superstar player to make Giannis happy so he gets out of his feelings and stops booing his own fan base. So you do what you got to do to make that man happy, right? But when you get to the offseason and Atlanta has the best of yours in the Pelican picks, because you know what's going to happen, right? Bucks are going to win the lottery because they can't keep it, right? So now they're going to go up there to 1, 2, whatever. Pelicans will be in the top 5, too. And then they're going to take the best of the picks. At that moment in time, if I'm the Bucks, now here's your opportunity if you're going to go on Giannis. If you're going to go on Giannis and do a complete rebuild, complete reset, here we go. Here's our time. I want Jalen Johnson, and I want that pick. That's all I need. And then we'll figure out salaries through a third team or whatever to make it all work financially for Giannis. And that's how I'm going to move on from Giannis. And whatever clown show I take back in here to make Giannis happy, Morant, Anthony Davis, they're gone too. And I'm going to get picks for them too. And then I'm going to completely rebuild this thing. But now all of a sudden, instead of starting with nothing, because that's what's going to happen if he walks away after next year with a player option, you get nothing. Instead of doing that, now I've got 2 core building blocks potentially, because the top 3 in this draft coming up are all 3 are studs, right? So you get a stud there and potentially another stud with Jalen Johnson. I think he's really good, and he's a Wisconsin kid. Hey. So you get 2 good players there. You get a couple of picks for the person you bring back to try and help him now for the short term. You get a couple more picks there. I feel good now about, okay, maybe it's not 20 years. Maybe it'll only take us 2 years to get back into the playoff hunt and be a team kind of going forward here. That's kind of where my head's at now. The rest of the year, we had Bill Ryder on yesterday, right? From Writer Than You podcast, NBA Insider. He hates Doc. He's hated Doc forever, right? So that's why I got him on, because I was like, oh, you can come on and gloat about how Doc was going to kill this team. And he comes on, he goes, hey, man, Sparky, I'll be honest with you. He's like, it's going to sound crazy. He's like, I wouldn't fire Doc. I'd keep him. Let him coach the rest of the year. Here's your chance to have a great pick. So let him just coach and destroy the team or whatever he wants to do and get yourself in a bebetter selection. I don't see any point in firing Doc Rivers either. It doesn't make any sense. Why? So Darvin Ham can coach. What are you going to get? 3, 4 more wins? Maybe. What does that get you? That didn't get you anywhere. I mean, it's at this point, as crazy as it sounds, that's over. Like this season, it's pretty much over at this point. And the only person that doesn't think it's over is the guy that you care about most in Giannis. And that's why they're going to go do something stupid and give up a 31 first round pick or something crazy and destroy their current roster to go get Anthony Davis or John Morant or somebody like that.
A few things. One, I'll be a pessimist first. Atlanta will not send you the first pick or whatever pick it ends up being and Jalen Johnson for Giannis. And that might sound crazy. Obviously, Giannis is better than Jalen Johnson. But they would want Jalen Johnson for the same reason the Bucks would, in that, okay, great. I'm Atlanta. I have Giannis, Dyson Daniels, Zachary Reese-Hachey. We're not going to be that good either. We don't have the second star. We don't now suddenly have this big draft pick. So and now he's expiring in a year on our team, and either maybe he signs the supermax or the big extension, maybe not. But I think you just get the pick and then some other stuff, which obviously is not as appealing, but I think that's the offer that Atlanta would make. In terms of what they're doing this year, I think they're being very careful with that 31 first. I think that the goal for the Bucks right now, based on just putting together pieces, not any new insight here, is find a talent upgrade that you can get without sending that 31 first, because the player's contract is onerous. I think they stepped around Trae Young. Atlanta wanted expiring money. The Bucks don't have any. Didn't work out. I think they're sniffing around John Morant, who there seems to be maybe two, maybe three other suitors. Miami, ironically, which has come up before, most recently with Damian Lillard, going, well, we don't want to give you any real stuff because Giannis might be available in a year. So we'll take John Morant for free. I think the Bucks now trying to say, all right, can we slide you? And these are just examples. This is not sourced. Kevin Porter Jr., maybe a swap of a pick instead of a real pick in salary to go get John Morant, take him off your hands. He's causing problems. He's not playing games, whatever. And then Zach LaVine, another one where his contract's so big, he's a little older. Can we just kind of take him for a little, not a real first? And then maybe that turns our season around, right? Like they are really good when Giannis is on the court in those minutes. They're really bad when he sits. So can you drop in a John Morant, a Zach LaVine, and Anthony Davis? And all right, now we're decent when Giannis is off. We're good when he plays, and we can get in the play-in and pretend to go on a run. Maybe we can. Maybe not. Maybe. I do think there is a line there between we're going to suck the rest of the year and we're going to go all in, right, and try to win and be stupid about, because I do think, they're not going to contend for a championship this year. I think we all should accept that. You can't, I think, do any premium assets chasing this season, but maybe you can pick up a guy who slots in for the next couple and gets you a step closer. And maybe Giannis does sign the papers this summer. I'd rather have him than not, because to your point, we saw a very long time when they had a lot of draft picks and a lot of cap space, and it amounted to a whole lot of you being the only one watching the game because you had to do the post game. I would still try and figure it out with Giannis, who's clearly still an exceptional top 3 player in the league.
Changing, dude. It's changing, though. I mean, the one post game, was it last week, Charlie? Week before, whatever? He went like Ricky Henderson talking about, you got to get Giannis the ball, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what is going on with this cat? Then the whole booing thing. And then what happens on social media? Somebody finds a headline from 2024 of him talking about, I'd boo myself. So it wasn't even the first time the man had booed and said he was okay with it. Now it's Giannis against the world and screw the fans. I've been here 13 years and all this other stuff. I mean, listen, I agree with you. You are clearly better and have a better chance of winning a championship with one of the greatest players that the game has seen. The greatest player in Bucks history. You want to debate that with me, we can do that. But that's who I think he's the greatest player in Bucks history. So, yeah, I'd rather have him than not have him, too, at this point. But at the same time, I don't know, man. Like, if he walks for nothing and goes into free agency and goes to wherever he ends up going at some point, and you are sat there with nothing, like that is going to be a huge problem.
You can't do that. I mean, if he doesn't sign the paperwork in October, that's the tough thing is they can't offer it to him until October. So really after off season, obviously he can share where he's leaning. I don't think there's going to be much confusion. It's going to be the biggest paperwork the Bucks can offer him, which is significant. I do think there are teams out there who are cheap, who are afraid of, this new hard cap sort of era in the NBA and not wanting these huge deals. There'll probably be like a 70 million price tag on the end of that, like Booker's is, because they all end up the same. Maybe he just signs it, even if he's like, oh, I don't know, but that's 275 million or whatever. Yeah, I'll lock that in. I don't know if all these other teams would do that. And any team who gets me has to give up all their stuff to get me, everything else, whatever. But if you get to October and we're starting the next season and the paperwork's been in front of Giannis and Giannis says, thanks, but no thanks, then I do think that's the scenario for me. And I've been, I think, one of the most committed people to, we got to win with him. You got to figure it out. I'm not blowing it up. I'm not taking the OKC picks that weren't offered, but theoretically, I'm not doing it. And they've been losing. Maybe they will be offered. If we get to that place, though, where it's game one and that paperwork's not being signed and he could walk after the year, then I think you just open up the market and you just face reality. And that sucks. That's not going to be fun. It's never going to be fun, however it happens. If he retires after 5 more years, it won't be fun, right? But then that's where I think you're right in that you can't just say, all right, go do free agency, because then you get nothing back. You don't control your draft until 2031 at minimum. Maybe you send that one too. That's not a tenable position, I don't think. And I kind of feel like the pressure is getting to some of these younger players now with everything going on, not just the playoff part, but is Giannis leaving, or are we going to be sent out to help someone get Giannis? Like, imagine it next year when I think it'd be even more magnified and more immediate. I don't think that's a tenable spot for the Bucks.
Is there anybody on this Bucks roster, Ty Windisch of the GyroStep podcast, that you're like, I don't care who you trade, but you can't trade this dude. I got to have this dude, because there's not a single player on this roster. And in fact, I would advocate to find somebody to take Miles Turner's contract immediately. Like, if somebody wants to figure out a way to take that back in return for whatever the case to get off of that long-term contract, even if I can get off that long-term contract for a couple of shorter-term contracts, like, I'm all aboard that train if that means getting rid of that deal as soon as possible.
I'll tell you, I think they'd end up looking foolish. I do think Miles Turner is good.
It's better to admit that you screwed up than to continue playing this out, because if there's no Giannis and he's the guy, we saw what that looked like without Giannis. He ain't going to be the guy.
Well, I think you could admit you got the coaching hire wrong and bring in someone who's able to utilize Miles Turner. I think that's the big. I think those two things aren't working together. I think we've got a lot of years of Miles Turner being a productive, useful player, even without a Giannis level guy out there. I think he's just kind of used as like stand there and wait to shoot a three on offense. I think he can do more than that. I don't think he's integrated, but I hear you. I hear the frustration. He's obviously not been worth the moves they made for him. For me, it's still Rollins.
Pacers fans literally told us what was going to happen when he got here, and they've been pretty much right exactly what happened. It's like hit and miss on a given night. And some nights he looks awesome. And you're like, okay, that's who we paid. And then other nights you're like, is he out there or is he just getting cardio? Like, that's what it feels like, I think.
That's a usage question to me. But the guy I wouldn't trade is Rollins. And I know it's been bad these last couple of weeks. I know all the point guards are bad right now. I'm holding on to Rollins. We saw the glimpses. He's 23 years old. He still leads the league in deflections. He's one of the best 6 or 7 above the break 3-point shooters. He has all the valuable skills you need. He's kind of been taken off ball. And again, I just think, these players are not being utilized well offensively. I'd say that's true for Green, who also gets cardio a lot of these games. Like, he should be running around a screen to shoot a 3 2 times per quarter minimum, even more. And it just doesn't happen for long stretches. And then you just, okay, what is the point? Same with Turner. Rollins is off ball too much. KPJ, they asked to do too much a lot of the time. I mean, it's just dribble, 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 dribble. He's not James Harden. He's not Jalen Brunson. He plays like it in a lot of these games. I just don't think these pieces, it's like in chess. If you tried to like get a bishop to the other side and make it a king, it doesn't work that way. That's what the pawn does. Maybe not my best analogy, but it's Rollins for me really is the one I'd be very disappointed, especially because right now you're selling low, right? Like, he's in the middle of this slump, not when you want to trade a guy. There was a report today from Hoops Hype that the Grizzlies want him and a first.
Michael Scotto, right? And that's why I asked you that. I'd be like, cool.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing that.
Because I don't think Ryan Rollins is a star player. I think Ryan Rollins will be a solid player, nice rotational player, probably a starter on a bad team. That's what he is. I don't think he's a huge difference maker. When this team next competes for a championship, he's not going to be a part of it.
Depends if the big guy's around or not. I don't know if anyone in the league right now is going to be a part of it the next time if they have to fully rebuild it. I think it might be a while. But if Giannis is sticking around, I think he's a perfect compliment. I get a lot of Nemhard from him on the Pacers, and that guy was maybe not the key player, but a key player on the team that probably one injury away from a title. If we're being honest, I like their position against OKC in that game 7.
Ty Windisch, you don't think Indiana would trade Nemhard and a pick for a superstar?
I don't think they are trading that for John Morant this year.
Well, no, okay. John Morant, the dude, fine. I understand. But I'm just saying in general, like, I don't think they look at Nemhard and go, oh my God,
is a different question. No. I'm not saying I don't trade him for anyone, but these guys we're talking about for the Bucks targets, kind of a poo-poo platter of their own. Like, you really want to pay this guy $50 million? He's going to give you 18 and 6, but really, like, those guys, I'm not doing it. If you get a real star, we can have a conversation. But I'm not letting him go for Morant or Levine or someone like that.
So how does this end?
What do you mean by this season or this trade thing? Or what do you mean
how
this
does
season?
this end? Let's just talk about the trade deadline. How do you think
Yeah.
this ends? When the trade deadline is done, are they going to make that big move and change over this roster?
Yeah. I think there's going to be a roster changing move in some sense. I don't think it's likely that it's a Giannis trade. Obviously, there's still teams and media members and everything salivating about that. I do think the guy is getting very frustrated with especially these last couple blowout losses to teams without key players. But I don't think that's going to be what it is. And I think if it's not that, then it will be one of these other or some player of this ilk, right? Levine, Jeremy Grant, Michael Porter Jr., someone like that who is available and costs, either what the Bucks have or a little less than what the Bucks have, and trying to plug holes in this thing as we go, which is not a good way to build. The Bucks have not built from a stable position since they hired Mike Budenholzer way back when, I think. It's just kind of here's a new coach, here's a big player a week before the year. It's not a good way to build a team. Clearly, it has not been working. But I think they're going to take the swing. And I think, Kyle Kuzma, Bobby Portis, and some sort of asset. I think they're kind of throwing that everywhere they can right now to see who can we bring in. Malik Monk is one that's been talked about with the Kings. So I think they're going to do something just to try and spice things up a little, if nothing else.
Spice things up. So you're going to trade Portis and Kuzma and whatever to get, so let's say get Malik Monk. I like Malik Monk. You make that deal. Who the hell is rebounding the basketball then?
Yeah, you gotta make another move if that's it doesn't take both of their salaries to get Monk is the thing. So Kuzma could still be around. He's still a forward, or you trade him for someone else. For me, Michael Porter Jr. is the one where I'd be most excited from a this year and next year standpoint. Because I think he's a great fit next to Giannis. A really big three. Your rebounding is going to be a lot better. Perimeter defense, a little shaky still, but that offense will be really fun. I mean, he's been a ridiculous shot maker this year, but I think that one's going to cost you your first. So then we get into you better feel really good about that move if you're making it, because if you do make it and then Giannis leaves, you're going to be sitting here with everything you gave up for Turner and Porter Jr. and feeling pretty foolish and needing to sell pieces off just to try and build at some point.
He is Ty Windisch, GyroStep Podcast. Follow him on X at Ty Windisch. Mr. Windisch, I appreciate it as always, buddy. Have a good weekend.
Yeah, you as well. Thanks for having me, Sparky.